Brotato is one of those games that once you start playing it, it is hard to put down. It has a very addictive gameplay loop, provides an amazing challenge, has a banging soundtrack, and nails many interesting gameplay mechanics. If you enjoy games like Vampire Survivors or 20 Minutes Till Dawn, or other roguelikes like Hades or The Binding of Isaac, you are going to love this title. That being said, it is difficult and not everything is spelled out for you. Here are some of the things I learned that helped me become a better player. 1. Understand how damage works. Basically, damage is calculated base weapon damage plus ranged weapon damage plus melee weapon damage, etc., multiplied by the scaling percentage of the weapon, so you have to check your weapon stats for that, and then you multiply that by your damage percentage increase, and then you factor in attack speed. So a lot of different things here. Let's compare two melee weapons, the knife and the spear. As we can see, these both scale with melee damage, but the knife has a higher base crit chance that increases with rarity. Additionally, the crit damage scales with the knife as it levels up. Alternately, the spear crit chance is lower and stays the same. However, the spear's base damage and range increase much more with each level. These weapons do have different weapon tags though. Let's compare two weapons that have similar tags, the laser and the pistol. Both have the gun weapon tag but have some other differences, most notably base damage, attack speed, and pierce damage. Some weapons have interesting weapon scaling. For instance, the shuriken is a ranged weapon, but it scales with the melee damage attribute. This can be a nice weapon to supplement a melee build since you don't have to pump up your ranged damage stat for it to be effective. Also, some weapons scale with range, health, elemental damage, and even character level. So I completely forgot to mention engineering damage. Engineering damage actually isn't done directly by your weapons. There are tools that provide engineering bonuses and spawn turrets, but those are melee weapons and they do melee damage and scale with melee damage, but the turrets are what scales with your engineering damage. So just a quick caveat there, that's how engineering damage works. All right, let's get back into the video. Between waves, you can check how much damage each weapon is doing. Some weapons have secondary benefits, but damage is probably the thing you are going to want to focus on. So make sure you're dumping weapons that aren't pulling their weight. The wiki is an invaluable resource for this information, but you want to make sure the information is up to date with the most recent release. 2. Check the passive bonuses of your weapons. It took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out that the weapon categories actually had tangible benefits if you built around them. You are better off focusing on a weapon class than just picking up the best weapon you can get your hands on between each wave. 3. Don't neglect character speed and range. This is one of those stats that for the first dozen or so runs I didn't boost, and I would even lower it with items that granted damage or armor. I discovered that speed can really mean the difference between surviving a wave, particularly in the later stages when you have dozens of aliens chasing you and bullets flying everywhere. Additionally, there's an item that converts your speed into damage, which sweetens the deal even more. Range also makes a huge difference, especially with melee weapons. Even though it slows attack speed a bit, increased range is worth it so you can keep your distance from enemies as a melee character. 4. Snakes and sausages are an incredible combo that can be added to any build to increase its power. The first time I cleared 5 difficulty was with the Elementalist with snakes and wands. You can boost your elemental damage to crazy high levels. If you don't want to carry wands or torches, Scared Sausages allows you to ignite enemies with your attacks. 2 or 3 sausages can spread a lot of fire. If you have a snake or 2, you will have the hordes of aliens ignited all the time. 5. Trees, food, and the lumberjack shirt are amazing ways to heal yourself. Sometimes we only focus on lifesteal or life regen, but if you can get enough trees and perhaps have a few farms interspersed in levels, you can keep yourself alive quite easily. And 6. Here's a bonus tip. Understand the way the shop works. It turns out there are a lot of ways to manipulate what the shop will offer during a run. One tip with the shop is just to understand that buying a weapon will change what will be offered in future item pools. So if you're carrying an SMG, a stick, a shield, and a rocket launcher. That increases the odds of finding both those item types, or SMGs, sticks, shields, and rocket launchers, but also those item classes: gun, primitive, medieval, blunt, elemental, and explosive. I actually made a whole video about how the shop works and how you can manipulate it to your advantage in this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe learned something. Good luck in your next run.